Last time I made a video about becoming a field inspector, it blew up to almost 200,000 views in a couple of months. It also got flagged because a lot of you are saying this is way too good to be true. So I'm going to break it all down again and let you know what this side hustle is about, how much real inspectors are making, what to look out for, and how to get started if you want to try it for yourself. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Side Hustle Seattle. My name is Corinne if you've never met me, and I try to help you find your perfect side hustle. So the first thing is, what exactly is a field inspector? Field inspectors are hired by banks, lenders, or insurance companies to do basic property checks. So you're not repairing anything or selling anything. Your job is to drive to a location, take photos, and submit a short report. You're basically their eyes on the ground. And yeah, some people make some really good money doing it. Honestly, I get why it sounds too good to be true. Some of you commented like, no, this can't be real. But let's just take a quick look at what the internet says. So ZipRecruiter currently lists the average field inspector making about $52,000 a year, with many part-timers making about $20 to $50 per job. And you have YouTubers like Alton RL who shared stories of field inspection work and how he's made $300 in a day by working with some of these companies. Now, he actually has a ton of videos on field inspection work and like medical courier work that you should check out if you're interested. But one of the comments on one of his videos was a gentleman saying that him and his wife have been doing field inspection work for like 15 years and they've built their business up enough to now they do it all across the country. And let's be clear, the amount of money you make with field inspection work or any side hustle is going to vary so much, but it is a very real side hustle that some people are doing to make a good amount of money. So when it comes to field inspections, what type of work are you actually going to be doing? So you can do things like occupancy checks to check if the house is actually lived in. You can do insurance inspections, so like check for storm damage or property condition. You can do vehicle verification, so like VIN, license plate photos, loan and foreclosure checks, so snap photos for mortgage companies. And you can do business equipment audits, especially for leasing companies. Most jobs take about 10 to 30 minutes depending on distance. You usually just snap a couple photos, take a few notes, and then you just move on to the next one. So when it comes to being a field inspector, you don't need a license, you don't need a college degree, but you do need a few basics. So let's get into that. You'll need a car because obviously you'll be driving. You need a smartphone with a good camera, a printer because some jobs do require printed letters, but not all of them. A selfie stick is nice just in case you need to take photos of the roof, and that way you can do it without the ladder. A clean background check, and some companies may require E&O insurance, but just ask before applying. So my bonus tip when it comes to field inspection work is use some sort of route planner so that way you're actually doing your stops a little bit more efficiently, and I'll just pop a couple apps on the screen that you can use. Now I've done a lot more research on what people are making since the first video, and it's often advertised that you can make like $20 to $50 per job. But realistically, people are making more like $8 to $20 per job. So if you do, $10 jobs a day, that's $100. Throw in a few higher paying ones, and maybe you can clear $150 in a day occasionally. So let's just be realistic. How much you make is going to drastically depend on where you live, how many companies you're signed up for, and how efficient you are. There's plenty of people who make less than $50 in a day with field inspection work, and there's some people who make 1,000 plus a week. Your week over week is going to change. There's going to be some weeks where you have a lot of work, some weeks where you have no work. So just keep that in mind if this is something that you want to get into. It's not always consistent. I saw a comment on Reddit where somebody said essentially like if you're in a non-saturated market, then you can actually make some pretty decent money. But if you're in a major city, it becomes increasingly harder to maybe get the amount of jobs you need to make it a more full-time side hustle. I actually made a blog post that has 25 plus field inspection companies that you can sign up for, and I'll go ahead and just post that in the description and the comment section. But let me just give you a few companies that you can get started with, and I'll just show them on the screen. So let's now the first company I recommend checking out, and the one that I see most people use, is called iVueIt. So let's go ahead and just check out the website real quick. Now, iVueIt is usually the company that people start out with because they have a very easy to use app. So you can see right here that you can earn $7 to $75 per inspection. Honestly, from what I hear from most people, it's more of like that $7 to $15 range, and the $75 ones aren't as common, if you will. But you can kind of check out what the app has to offer right here. So you get a little bit of heat map. It'll tell you where some different jobs are at. You can go ahead and select those jobs, complete them, and then you're good to go. So it'll kind of break down the steps. On iVueIt, you essentially are a viewer if you are somebody who's doing field inspections. And it's super simple. You just accept the view, you snap the photos, complete the survey, submit it, and you get paid. And it'll show you right here that once you actually submit the photos and they are approved, you get paid within 24 hours to your PayPal. So definitely one just to check out if you're just getting started. Now, another one that I've seen highly recommended is called Spectrum Field Services. So let's just check out what that site looks like. Okay, so here is the Spectrum Field Services site. If you scroll down, you can kind of see the services that they generally offer. And I want to show you this before I show you the form. So there's inspections and services and residential inspections. You will likely fall into this residential inspection section. So if we click it, what's all involved in the residential inspections? Occupancy verification, property condition, contents inspections, Fannie Mae Form 30 inspections. I do not know what those are. Interior sales, draft loss, disaster inspections. That's likely what you are going to fall into. And the reason that I wanted to point that out is because if you actually go to the Join Our Network, which is where you're going to go if you want to sign up to be a field inspector, you are going to have to select what services you would like to be a vendor for. Usually for specialty inspections, you need some sort of certification or license. So you likely would kick this one right here, put your coverage area, leave a comment if you want to, and then go from there. And that's all you need to do to sign up. And the last one that I want to quickly show you that I also hear all over the internet is called We Go Look. So let's get into that site. So here is the We Go Look homepage. And of course, it's very easy to get started. Just click to get started, but let's scroll down a little bit and see what they have to offer. So you can be a looker. That's just performing just bare basic inspections. And that's where most people are likely to fall into. One thing I really like is if you're a notary, then you can become a looker notary. So these are people who will also do those same basic inspections, but they can also do the notarization of the documents needed as part of that inspection. So I'm a notary, so this would be a great thing for me to sign up. You can also be a roof inspector, and it says an experienced professionals, which I understand. You don't want just anybody climbing on your roof. So just keep that in mind. If you don't know how to work around roofs, do not sign up for that. And then interior, exterior inspectors, and this is also experienced professionals. So likely what you would be doing is more of the looker or looker notary if you are a notary. And when you want to get started, just go to sign up and fill in your basic information. Say what you're looking to be, a looker or a looker notary. I think the interesting thing is you can't select like multiple, but maybe it doesn't matter. And then just go ahead and fill out the form and they will get back to you. So let's talk about the pros and cons real quick. So the pros for me are it's flexible hours. You don't need a degree, a license, a certification to get started. And you can do it both part-time and full-time. And when it comes to the cons, I think the biggest cons for me are pay varies a lot, right? So it's not necessarily reliable being like, oh, I can make $500 this week. Well, maybe $500 last week, $100 this week, $300 next week. It's really hard to keep it the same week over week. The other thing is it is a lot of wear and tear on your car. Anytime you're doing any sort of gig work that requires you to drive, you're putting wear and tear on your car, so you have to know if that's actually worth it. And I would say the third con is just some companies actually do pay pretty slow. Like some are net 30, and it kind of sucks waiting 30 days to get paid for work that you just did today. So just something to keep in mind. And I would say the last thing that's not necessarily a pro or con, but just something to keep in mind is use caution when you're approaching houses. So most are harmless, but people can be sensitive if you're taking pictures around their property. So always have your letter or a badge if the company gives you one, and just be aware of your surroundings. So let's be clear, field inspection work is likely not going to replace your day job, but it is a very real side hustle that people are doing right now to earn flexible income. And my advice for anybody who is looking to try it out, you're probably reading comment sections, Reddit posts, and you have a group of people saying it's great, a group of people saying it's an absolute scam. Just try it for yourself. Everybody's experience is going to be different. Just because John Smith didn't make any money doesn't mean that you won't. So if you're looking to get started, try one or two companies and just see what happens. Remember, it really does depend on where you live, what companies you're signed up for, how many companies you're signed up for, a number of factors. So don't take somebody's experience as everyone's. But anyways, if you are looking to check out more companies, don't forget that I have that list of 25 plus field inspection companies that you can check out on my blog, on my website, sidehustleseattle.com. It is linked below. Let me know your thoughts. Is this a side hustle that you've tried? If so, how did it go? Was it worth your time? Was it not worth your time? Are there companies that you prefer and would recommend to everybody? Go ahead and leave it in the comment section. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next one.